Howdy folks and welcome. I hope this finds you well. Today I'm so excited to be talking about my first impressions with S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Heart of Chernobyl. If you haven't had a chance to check out my channel yet, you might not know that I adore the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series. Whether it was the trilogy's gameplay, story, atmosphere, or so much more, the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise deserves recognition, and I'm so thankful that Heart of Chernobyl seems to be a great step in that direction, and for GSC themselves. If you're interested in the lore before Heart of Chernobyl, or the trilogy itself, I have a couple of series that I'll link down below. And there's so much to talk about when it comes to first impressions of HOC. Don't fret, this will be spoiler free. I will be using in-game footage from Heart of Chernobyl, but I will leave out major parts from the first 8 to 10 hours of playing the game. So, let's get started. Wow. Firstly, I want to say that GSC has done such a wonderful job starting the player off. I doubt that everyone that is going to play HOC will know the backstory to the game or know what the zone is. I mean, who actually knows that? But regardless, from the first cutscene you can tell a lot of care went into the details for new and returning users. Within the first couple of minutes, there are references to characters that we've met previously in the trilogy, and that continues throughout your journey. There were times where I audibly gasped with glee knowing that my favorite trader was still doing his shtick, or people talking about landmarks that you've been to casually saying something completely different about them. This made me want to explore those places even more. I also think for a new player, the way they set up the tutorial levels and even the starting zone was top notch. I said before how GSC has grown as well, considering how all the previous S.T.A.L.K.E.R games start out. Heart of Chernobyl's start stands out. I appreciate that GSC has made a game for a broader audience, but still leaves huge areas where it's up to the player to read the notes, listen to the audio files, or just take the environmental storytelling a bit more seriously, which is a great thing. Heart of Chernobyl not only is as atmospheric as the previous games, but raises the bar so much that I was almost crying tears of joy when coming back to an area that I remembered writing about for my retrospective series. It was the same place but changed somehow. A motif I commonly come back to in video games is familiar but different. It's something that the previous games did so well when exploring the zone for the second or third time, just as different characters. GSC has done it again, but this time the change is even more diverse and interesting. The game itself looks stunning, and I know that the rough FPS drops and loading textures will be resolved eventually. There were times where slowdown was pretty bad, especially coming into larger camps or main mission areas. But the only reason why I was a bit frustrated is that the game, when playing well, is just breathtaking and smooth. It's a real testament, I think, to waiting those months and delaying the game, bringing out a product that works okay but can be improved, rather than the dumpster fire day one bullshit patching that most AAA games do nowadays. Anyways, one of the cooler things I noticed while playing, which is a visual and gameplay feature, is the scopes and how they feel. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they actually act and feel like what it looked like from one of the trailers for the game, when the Monolith fighter is sniping at the CNPP. It's just wildly addictive and satisfying gunplay, and you see the visceral headshots through the beautiful zoomed in scope, and hear them too. I don't know why I'm harping on it so much, but after you play a ton of FPS games like I do, a good scope is something you talk about. I also like the gunplay, even though I'll be looking forward to an extended gun list, shorter time to kill, even though headshots do seem to work wonders, and the cover system felt a bit janky at times. Yet overall, it's a S.T.A.L.K.E.R game, and I love how the guns have different weights to them, especially when you use the SVD. Another way GSC has adapted the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series into modern era is how they go about constructing the narrative of the main quest and the zone itself. I remember, no spoiler warnings. This is just how the gameplay loop functions. If you want that to be a surprise, I guess skip 30 seconds. Chernobyl plays like if Far Cry, The Witcher, and Fallout 4 had a radioactive baby. It's awesome and unexpected. You'll be getting quests from characters around the zone, but mainly from people in settlements. Doing side quests can get you better gear, and I would highly recommend going for every stash in the beginning of the game, because money is not readily available, and I've gotten some great weapons already from these stashes. There is also loads of areas of interest, another thing I talk about in my retrospective series. Heart of Chernobyl does a fantastic job, and maybe even a better job than its predecessors, at making a world that feels lived in. I know, I owe my subscribers $1 each time I say that, but it's the truth. Whether it's finding an old penitentiary with an evil secret in the basement, or discover that garbage is now the new industrial area of the zone, I never felt like there was a dull moment, and that's good content. One minor gripe is the English voice acting can be a bit everywhere. I'm playing through it first in English, then I'll switch it since I'll be doing a lot of videos on the game and rather be translating Ukrainian every day. I'll just stick to the English for now. I'm very sure the Ukrainian voice actors did a great job. Another great addition to the game is the music and ambient sound. You are in the zone from the second you cross over the gate. It's a great soundtrack, and when firefights break out randomly, you know it, with this music that feels like I'm in Dune. I guess I can surmise that if the sequel feels like the original games, and then does more than the original games, feels better, offers greater thrills, is more modern, then they've done an excellent job, and GSC really have. Already, I've been in multiple gunfights that have put me on the edge of my seat. I've also died a bunch of times, and for some reason the game tracks your deaths. Eek. It was one of those staples of the trilogy, those long firefights that made you think about your tactics, having to flank your opponents, and that's the game tenfold. But there is a caveat to it, at least for right now. I don't know if it was just me, but it's very difficult to figure out who is who. I know my lighting is a bit messed up settings wise, it was the only way I could run 60 FPS, but even with the immense shadows, NPC armors felt way too non-distinctive. Also, hovering over enemies, or anyone for that matter, does not give you the rank or faction they are in, which is a departure from the previous games. Not the end of the world though. The PDA is back as well from the trilogy, and I'm so glad they did this. I'm such a big fan of letting the player decide how much they want to go down the rabbit hole. For Heart of Chernobyl, not only do you have the notes that can be found and read, but audio logs too, that work while you walk around. Thank God. There is so much depth and lore already within the first couple of hours that I'm so excited to continue further into the zone, and I think I'll stop my impressions here and play some more. I'd love to get your thoughts on the game right now, how you've liked the first couple of hours, what changes you'd like to see, or what you think they've absolutely nailed. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my video, and if you enjoyed it, check out my channel. There's something there for everyone, I make sure of it. And as always, see you next time.
Show me what you found. What the hell is this?